Okay, and the time is 6:16 p.m. Okay, no public comment. Okay, so agenda item number 2.1, review and discuss regarding option of extend to the proposal of professional consultant services district-wide for an additional 1-year period.
Good
I will
evening.
be with Ms. Perez.
Yes, ma'am. Can y'all hear me okay?
Yes.
Yes,
Okay,
ma'am.
good. Thank you. Last year, around November 2019, we went out for bids for consultants. And this year, we are requesting that we extend for the first of 2 extensions allowed according to the bid that was placed. So the ones that we are requesting that you extend were from last year, and they are the existing ones that we have. We currently have a bid for consultants, meals, and general merchandise that are closing on December 8th. So those will go to the board, and those are the new ones. So this one is just an extension, and these are part of our rolling bids. And those will come up, the ability for new vendors to come in will come up on December 8th, March 9th, and July 15th. So this is just something that we do throughout the year.
Okay.
Y'all have any questions about the consultant services?
No. Agenda
Ms.
item?
Perez, may I just ask, I don't know if it's your mic or what, it's a little bit choppy and it's hard to hear. I was able to, but just a little bit choppy.
I'm sorry about that.
No,
y'all
that's
hear me?
fine. Yes. Thank you.
Okay. That will be an agenda item. Okay. The next one, any questions, any concerns? Okay, item number 2.2, review and discussion regarding option to extend the proposals on meals and catering services district-wide for an additional 1-year period. Ms. Perez?
Yes, ma'am. Like the consultant.
Ms. Perez,
Yes.
Perez, if you can hold for a second, and Ms. Weaver, we need to deviate and go back to the curriculum committee. We posted the agenda in the order of the administrative committee, the curriculum committee, and the finance committee. So any member of the public following our committees, we need to follow that order. So if we can deviate, we don't need a motion. We're not at a formal board meeting, but we do need to go back to the curriculum committee meeting, and the first item will be an agenda item. That's fine, but we do need to deviate back to the curriculum committee. I apologize for not catching that earlier.
Okay,
No, that's okay. Thank you, sir.
okay. Okay, so I guess it's 6:20. I'll start with the curriculum committee. Item number 2, review and discussion of the targeted improvement plan TIP for the 2020-2021 school year. Can everybody hear me?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, Mrs. Alvarado.
Yes, good evening. Are y'all able to hear
I
me?
don't.
Yes, ma'am.
Yes,
Good evening. Hope everyone's having a great afternoon with this beautiful weather that we're having. So
Yes, thank
since
you.
we do have 3 campuses and that are have to have a targeted improvement plan for this year. We have Frank Roberts Elementary, we have Miller Jordan Middle School, and we have our Gateway Academy. So those 3 schools worked alongside Mrs. Cornett, and I need to have Miss Cornett and Mrs. Gomez on. If we can get them on, they are waiting. They worked well, thank you. They worked with Region 1, Miss Silva, to work with the principals, with myself as well, to work on these target improvement plans. And I'm going to, it's a comprehensive plan, though they're there for you all to read. I'm sure you all look those over. I'm just gonna highlight some of the focus areas, prioritized areas that we're looking at. And then if you have additional questions, I do have the 3 campus principals as well here on standby, alongside Ms. Cornett and Ms. Gomez, who are now with us on the live feed. So for Frank Roberts Elementary, there's 3 prioritized focus areas that we stated here on the improvement plan. To develop a campus instructional leader with clear roles and responsibilities. And in that, we have instructional leaders with clear roles and responsibilities ensure that the campus runs efficiently and effectively, and build teacher capacity for leadership roles to support campus initiatives and ensure student success. Then we have 5.1, another area that we're focusing on is objective-driven daily lesson plans with formative assessments. Creating objective-driven plans with formative assessments to provides teachers with the tools needed to implement valuable instruction to students. Lesson plans with clear objectives and focus on differentiation to clearly define curricular goals. 5.3, data-driven instruction. Data analysis will be utilized to create prescriptive instruction to ensure student success. Regular campus leader data disaggregation to monitor and track the progress of all students and student groups, and utilize data to provide evidence-based feedback to teachers. So it's a very comprehensive plan, but I highlighted some of the focus areas that we stated in the plan. Is there any questions on that? Was for Frank Roberts Elementary.
Yes, ma'am. Can you explain why these schools are under targeted improvement?
So when they are rated on our accountability, if they are rated with a certain letter, Frank Roberts being one, we have to, there has to be a plan of action to show an action plan for the following year for improvement, so that we know that we show the state and our community and our parents and our students that we're making all efforts to improve the overall school score.
And what did Frank Roberts receive as a rating?
That was an F rating.
An F? And do you know what the reason was for the F rating?
Ms. Cornett, you want to chime in there?
Good afternoon, everyone.
Good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
2018, 2019, Frank Roberts did receive an F rating in almost all of the domains that get assessed. And so obviously it's a variety of things. We did last year go ahead and do a campus needs assessment and identified areas that needed to be addressed. And so we did have a targeted improvement plan in place last year. There were significant gains. We did a variety of surveys and data set analysis. And at the end of the year, we didn't have STAR data. So therefore, because there was no STAR data, the school is going to go ahead and continue that rating for another year.
Okay, so they remain on this rating for 2 years?
Yes, due to the fact that we had no STAR data last year.
I want to ask a question. I don't know how much, I know these are very comprehensive reports, Dr. Alvarado. I mean, we've both been in education for quite a while, and I'm very familiar with them. And I know that we need to have, again, I don't know how in detail these were going to be discussed, but just something that caught my attention is I realize that why the campus received an F rating, and I think that we've got a great administrator at that campus. He's a well-seasoned administrator, and I have no doubt that he's going to do his due diligence to get that campus back to where it needs to be. And that campus also holds a special place in my heart, because that's where I went to school when I was that age. I lived right across the street, basically. But in looking at the plan and in looking at the targets, and again, considering that we are still under this COVID situation, I'm worried about those targets. I realize the high expectations need to be there, but I'm sure you're well aware that our state is expecting 90, 60, 30 across the board, 90% approaches, 60 meets, and 30% mastery. You can't expect that from a campus that has that much gain, that much gain to make. However, in taking the time to look at this individual plan for Frank Roberts, I looked at the benchmarks, I looked at the goal, and right now I don't have access to a double screen, but I did look at the goal. Again, I can't see it. I think it's our goal is a 75, but after our first benchmark, you know, it was not anywhere close to getting to our goal. And I know it's early on. And again, I realize that with due diligence, with looking at lesson plans, with providing targeted instruction, with disaggregating data, you know, we're going to continue to, our teachers, our staff are going to continue to hit those weak points. But I don't know what the result is at the end of the year, if we're even going to test at all. It looks like we are, but we may not. And if we don't test, you know, this standing or this rating will continue for yet another year. And from my understanding, I may be wrong, but I think it'll continue in F. And again, are these, again, I see the high expectations. Are these goals attainable? I know that we're going to do our part, but you know, I don't want to shoot ourselves in the foot as well. Does that make sense?
Yes.
And again, because
perfect
Frank
sense.
Roberts is so dear to my heart, I want to make sure that we don't set up our seasoned principal that's coming in to try to not necessarily clean house, but get the school at the level it deserves to be at. And I don't want to set this individual up for failure as well. And again, I know that Ronnie, Mr. Diaz will do a great job, but are our targets attainable?
In developing the targets that were identified, although things are very different this year, we try to make the targets attainable looking forward. And we have to have the high expectations. But we do understand, yes, those first scores are definitely not where they should be or where we'd want them to be. But all things considered, there's still that learning curve because we were doing assessments online, and that's something the students are not really familiar with. And so we had to take that into consideration, and that's something that we're working with. But moving forward, keep in mind that this is a living document, and
Right.
we will be reviewing it periodically and regularly, not periodically, but regularly, and making adjustments as we see that are needed.
Okay, and I guess one last concern that I have as well, and I don't know it off the top of my head, but last time we met, Dr. Carmen provided the percentages of face-to-face students, and we all know, being a school administrator myself, I know that our failure rate in most areas is really high, and you know, students that are not coming back face-to-face for fear of COVID or whatever the case may be, you know, they're not getting the instruction from their teachers. So again, because they're not coming to school and they're not in the best educational environment possible, it concerns me that the fear of not attaining those goals is a concern to me. But again, based on the fact that you mentioned it's a living document, I'm thinking, correct me if I'm wrong, would we be able to, after maybe benchmark number 2, say, okay, we're not anywhere near close to this goal? Can we taper it down to make it attainable, or is that goal already set?
Again, yes, like you've mentioned, it is a living document, and we will definitely go back and revisit as we progress. If we don't see that students are coming back, if they're still struggling with online instruction, we will definitely be making adjustments. And Mr. Diaz, like you said, is doing a phenomenal job. And so we will definitely.
And kudos, I do want to mention, I haven't seen Mr. Diaz in a long time, but kudos to him, because I know he's a phenomenal administrator, and I'm not just saying that because I know him, but I think he's a man for the job. So great job. Thank you.
Absolutely.
And again, Mr.
Well, I do believe that's why they put him there, because we believed in him. And when the choice was made to put Mr. Diaz in there, we knew exactly what we were getting. So yes, he's a fantastic principal, great principal.
We do meet with him regularly, and we do revisit all the numbers. Mr. Moreno, can you hear me?
Yes, barely, but I can.
Oh, really?
Yeah, it might be me. I think I've got the speaker all the way up, or the
And again, we visit with him. We look at our CFAs. You know, we look to see where the students are at, and yes, you know, we have concerns. And actually, I met with him right before the board meeting because he's next door to me. You know, here as well on site, and you know, we're going to look at it again because we know that you know, we've had students not all in person, and it's been difficult. There's been a lot of challenges with our virtual instruction, as you know, as campus principal. So.
Okay, thank you, Ms. Alvarado. Thank you.
You're welcome. You're welcome.
Well, I want to thank all the staff and the principal as well from the campus for working hard on this plan. And I just wanted to know a little bit more about how this plan was organized. How was it put together? Did y'all get input from the staff as well?
Like I said, this process began 2 years ago in 2018, 2019. There was a campus needs assessment, and we worked on different cycles throughout the year. And then also at the end of the year, there was a reflective piece that was done. And so the reflective prioritization activity was done. And based on that data, that information, we identified, or Mr. Diaz and his team identified the priority areas for this school year. So last school year, we had different areas. He was new to the campus and there were different goals and areas that they were focusing on. Many of those were accomplished. And so this year it moved on. And so those were the areas that were identified for priority this year.
And the team would consist of what?
Well, he has his leadership team. He has, it's Mr. Diaz, his assistant, his RTI teachers, his counselor. He's got league teachers throughout his campus. He's been doing a great job. He meets regularly with his entire team, and just having open communication and getting feedback. Some surveys were conducted last year, and the feedback from the staff was that they did feel that they were being listened to, they were being heard, their needs were being met, and it was very positive feedback.
Wonderful. And so how are the students performing right now?
Again,
are you getting a good attendance? Are you getting kids that are not doing work at all, not logging in?
I'm gonna, I don't know if you want me to go ahead. In general, those are definitely issues that we have at this time and that we're addressing them. I know Mr. Diaz, you know, his team, we've done home visits. So those things are being addressed. I don't think it's just an isolated concern at that particular campus. It's something that we are dealing with across all the campuses, but specifically at this campus, you know, these different issues are being addressed.
We met with Mr. Diaz last week. Mrs. Cornett and I sat with him. He had some concerns, and so I met with him on some students that were not logging in, a handful of students, and he had reached out to them several times. And so he's on it, and he knows the students that need to be there. And so, you know, Mrs. Cornett and I offered any support. They were doing home visits. And I told him, is there anything that we need to provide? No, they have everything they need. They're just not showing up. So he's having those heart-to-heart conversation with those parents. And sometimes he told us last week, you know, they're not, or the week before last, they're not answering some of our phone calls, but we're gonna keep trying. So
I think the whole state is having these issues. It's not just exclusive to Frank Roberts, but it's hard to get these kids engaged.
Yeah. Right.
Okay, I'll move on to Miller Jordan Middle School. That was an overall D campus. So we're gonna look at domain 1, approaching. We want to set our goal to approaching to a 70, our meets to a 36, and our masters to a 16%. So like Mr. Moreno mentioned, we're looking at goals that are attainable. You know, it's, you know, you look at a 70, but you know, we were a little lower than that. So we've got to look at what is attainable. And Region 1 worked with us, and you know, some of these percentages you might say, wow, only, but those are attainable goals for the campus. Right. And so by doing this will support the campus Miller Jordan receiving a C rating for 2021. Okay. We looked at domain 2B, and that's our economically disadvantaged group of students. And, you know, we need that group of students to be at an 80%. That's the goal we have for domain 2B for Miller Jordan. Domain 3 is closing the gaps. And we need that scale score to be at a 70. Again, all of these goals here, these are the 3 goals that we worked on or focused on, prioritized on, is to get an overall rating or to reach that C overall rating for Miller Jordan. And then the next improvement plan that we have is for our Gateway Academy. And we look at domain 1 in the areas, student achievement in the areas of English, biology, math, and history. And we're looking at English 1, English 2. English 1, English 2 across the state has been really, really low. And that's an area that every school district struggles with. I've had various conversations with administrators about English 1, English 2, and it seems to continue to be lower. So we're looking at a 20% and a 25% for English 1 and English 2 at Gateway. And remember, we have a small group of students at Gateway Academy, but that's an attainable goal for our students. Math, we want to set it at 55%, our science at 65%, which is biology, and then our history at US history at 60%. Again, we are looking at percentages based on 2018, 2019 STAR data. We also want to look at our graduation rate, and that's really important. That's key. So we want to look at 80% of our juniors and seniors enrolled will graduate. And I'm really proud of Mr. Sanchez and his team. They are doing a phenomenal job. And when a student, meets and graduates, he calls me. I try to get over there to congratulate them. And we have students that were lacking just a few days, and they came back. We graduated at least 3 or 4 since we got back in person. So I'm really proud of the efforts that we're doing to make sure our students are graduating. It's so important for them to receive a high school diploma.
Absolutely.
So kudos to Mr. Sanchez and his group, because they get students with, not very many credits, and they get them to graduate. And that's going to be our goal, getting 80% of them to graduate. And this will align with our CCMR, okay? And that CCMR is huge, college and career military ready, for our accountability. We also look at domain 3, closing the gaps. Under this domain, the campus is assessed on 4 components: academic achievement, graduation, English language proficiency, and school quality student success. All 14 student groups listed on TA will be included in this accountability goals. Again, English 1, English 2, we're looking at the 20%, 25%, and then we have the math passing at 55, biology at 65, and US history at 60%. We also need to look at our English language proficiency component. That's our DELPA score, and an increase at least 1 level of proficiency for 2019, okay? So also looking at the TSI, to be CCMR compliant, we're looking at TSI ready or students having an industry-based certification when they graduate. So these are goals that'll help us attain better scores for Gateway. And again, these are attainable goals, and we work closely. Mrs. Gomez is on as well. She works closely with our secondary principals, and we're working like all the elementary principals as well, working really hard to get our campuses where they need to be. But there is struggles, and we're just working really hard through those struggles.
Thank you, Ms. Cornett and Ms. Gomez, for your hard work and diligence in developing these plans along with all team members. Great job. And I hope we can attain those goals at all 3 campuses.
Thank you, ladies.
Thank you very much.
Ms. Alvarado. Ms. Alvarado.
Yes, ma'am.
I think next time you need to tell us we need to bring our own magnifying glass.
Oh, yes, I know. We have a hard time, but that's the template that they provide us with, Ms. Yanis.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah, that's the template.
Yes.
We actually talked about it today. Mrs. Gomez and I talked about it today, that you could hardly see, but it's because that's the template that they provide us with.
Right.
Yes, I agree with you.
Quite a bit
I
of
agree with you.
information, but in a very small space.
I agree with you, ma'am.
Good job.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Is Alvarado ready? I don't see you anywhere.
I'm here. Can you hear me? Can you see me?
Okie
Ma'am.
dokie. Are we ready to go?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, number 3, review and discussion of the Memorandum of Understanding, the MOU between San Benito CISD and the University of Rio Grande Valley. This is the UTRGV School of Social Work for the 2020-2021 school year. I believe that was brought up earlier on the social work.
Yes,
Yes,
and I
ma'am.
have some information. I'll cover that at the end of my presentation. But as part of the sustainability of our grant for the after-school program, and I'm sure in y'all's attachments, y'all can see the the entire after-school grant program that was submitted a couple years back. And in that, one of the sustainability components is the partnership with UTRGV and their social work program. And what we do is that they have students that are in the tail end of their social work degree, and they have 408 hours that they have to work on or complete. And so we have partnered up with them, and that was it was written in the grant, so we have to sustain that. And they come in and they work with our after school program schools, okay? And those are the schools that are part of the cycle. And they, probably about 4 to 6 of them have worked with our students, or with our families in our schools. And it's about 25 hours a week is what they put in working with our schools. And then we look at that, and it's about because I know that there's a stipend. It's a $500 stipend that they receive from our school district, and that's with the after school program money. And that comes out to be about $1.22 an hour. So it's just a little token of our appreciation.
Yeah.
Because working social workers are really, really key in our school districts and our schools, and them coming in really supports what we're doing, and they help support our program and our campuses. They are screened through our HR program, our HR department, and they have to pass that screening before they're allowed on campus to work with our students. But this has been a great partnership that we have had for the last several years. And we do offer a $500 stipend per semester, but they give about 408 hours of their support to our district.
Okay.
Is there any questions on this MOU with UTRGV?
Are these hours only after school, or are they during the week also, during the day?
So it's mainly working with our
That's after
after school program.
Just go.
Our after school program.
Would this be an agenda item?
I have a few more questions. And the social workers, I'm assuming that they are trained on confidentiality when it comes to working with the students and being able to refer any students in case there are any outcries.
They would have to.
Yes, I'm putting on my mask because I have Mrs. Our after school program director here in my office, and she's provided me with the information on those questions. So, yeah, their field supervisor is Miss Nelda Rodriguez, and she is works with UTRGV. She's the director there at the UTRGV. And yes, they're very well trained on confidentiality, working with families. They've been through all their pedagogy classes, which I'm sure lead up to this final practicum with the hours of working and actually getting in, just like when we do our student teaching, kind of basically the same, kind of work the same thing. And before we get to that point, we're very much aware of, what we, all the FERPA and all the rules leading up to working with our students during that time. So it would be the same as what they're going to be doing with our students.
And that should
Do-
be part of their training that they take also, because you see they had, how many hours of training they had to go through?
Well, they've gone through
Alvarado?
almost
180?
probably
Yeah,
probably
right?
almost 4 years. They did their basics, and probably 2 years of it, spent more in specializing in social work and working
Great.
with families.
Good. Good. Thank you.
And do they have an avenue to communicate with the school counselor also in case there's any concerns, and that way counselors can follow up with them also?
Yes,
Be
and we do
aware of
have
any issues?
yes, that's a great question. We have a coordinator at La Paloma, and her name is Miss Diaz, and Miss Diaz has a bachelor's in social work. So she is kind of like takes charge of the social workers. And I'm sorry, she's at La Encantada. My apologies, La Encantada, and she has a bachelor's in social work. So if there's some follow up that needs to be done, she's the contact person for our district. Does that
Thank
answer
you.
the question?
And does she communicate with the school counselors?
Yes, and I will, yes, Mrs. Casas is telling me, yes, she does communicate with the counselors.
Wonderful. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Anyone else with any comments, any questions? Okay. Do we want, this is an agenda item?
Yes, ma'am. And Mrs. Silva, could you go back to number 2.1 on the target improvement plans? I just didn't hear you state that it needs to be an agenda item. If you would just make that statement, please.
I'm sorry?
For 2.1,
Okay,
would
yes.
you just make the
Agenda
statement
item?
formally that it needs to be?
Agenda item.
Yes, ma'am. Thank you.
Say it. Say
Okay.
2.1 agenda item. Janie.
2.1, agenda item. Sorry.
Good. Now
I'm
the
looking at
second.
my deal because I have 2.2 review and then 2.3, this 2.3 agenda item 2.
Mhm.
Yes,
Have to go over it.
okay.
We already did
All right,
2.1 and 2.2. So now we're on
2.1, 2.2, we already done 2.3 agenda
No,
item. So
2.2.
now we're at 2.4.
We're in
No, we're
2.2.
2.3.
Yeah, we're gonna start 2.3
The
now.
review discussion of, I thought we had that social work. I'm a little bit confused here. So on 2 point, I have 2.1, 2.2, unless my agenda is wrong. Let me look.
2.3 should be dealing with the Girl Scouts, Ms. Silva.
And it's in the, well, see, I don't have it. I have that under 2.4 on my agenda. I
Okay.
guess,
He's got it
so
wrong.
on my 2.4, it's the Girl Scouts. Okay,
That'll be 3 for us.
Right, I have 2.3 for girls.
okay, that's 3.
Mhm.
Okay,
2.3.
so I already have 3. Okay. So then now we have point 3. Review and discussion of the memorandum of the understanding of the MOU between the San Benito ISD and the Girl Scouts of Greater South Texas for the 2020-21 school year. I have it here as 4. I don't have it as 3. I have it as 4. Ms. Alvarado?
Yes, thank you so much. If we brought this back and we did some research, and we did have Mr. Eddie Sudis review the Girl Scout curriculum, the leadership curriculum that will be used in our after school program. And there's a letter there, and he does state that it's his professional opinion that the proposed lessons being aligned with the state of Texas and supporting the cognitive, financial, and effective goals of the San Benito CISD are beneficial to our student and community. So he did review those. Also, we had parent testimony. I had parent testimonials. We contacted 6 parents that had their daughters involved. We did receive word back from only 4. We didn't get the 2 didn't call us back, and They all stated that it was a great program for their daughters and that they would, we brought it back, that they would be involved with it as well.
Good job. Thank you, Ms. Alvarado.
Okay, good job.
And additionally, let me just add in,
Thank you.
since the question came up during the last board meeting regarding FFEA, we did reach out to TASB policy. It did not appear that the Girl Scouts would qualify as the comprehensive counseling program required by the school district. So we did reach out to TASB policy, and there's an email attachment in there. It indicates the policies that we would expect for an MOU to deal with criminal history, checks for contracted services personnel, which we require of anyone working with our students, CH dealing with contracts with service providers, community use of the facilities, and community distribution of non-school literature. However, it did not fall under FFEA, but nonetheless, we did ask our counseling coordinator to review from his perspective, and of course, Ms. Alvarado's already relayed that information. But since that question came up, I did want the board to know and understand that we did reach out to TASB policy for clarification.
Thank you, Dr. Carmen. That was awesome. Thank you, sir.
Yes, ma'am.
So Dr. Carmen, can you clarify for me? I know you mentioned a few of the policies there for the criminal history. Does that mean that the Girl Scouts will be doing criminal histories, or that's not needed?
And anyone who works directly with our students has to go through a criminal history background check. Not just Girl Scouts, anybody that works in any part of the after-school program comes into the school building to push-in services during the school day. All of those people must do a criminal history background check.
And how will that be done with the Girl Scouts? With you all, with the school district, or with the Girl Scouts? Who's
Probably
going
will
to?
let Dr. Cruz elaborate on that.
Okay.
Good evening again. So anyone who is going to be doing any kind of business for the district does come to the Human Resource Office. They provide paperwork to us and we check criminal background.
Thank you. And I'm also, I read the letter and it does say on the effective domain, he said, although the San Benito CSD did not include goals pertaining to the effective domain, does that mean that only the academics will be covered and not the effective? And I was looking at the lessons plans, that's really all included, academics. It didn't include anything on the social development.
So I think he's making a comparison to the 5-year strategic plan that does not have any goals in there pertaining to the effective domain. Is that what you're referencing on page 3 of the statement from Ms. Reggie-Sudes?
Yes, yes.
Okay.
Yes.
That's it.
Right. So I don't believe that
Right.
he's stating what the Girl Scouts will or will not teach at that point. I think he's simply pointing out that the district's 5-year strategic plan did not include any social emotional goals for from the effective domain as part of that 5-year strategic plan when it was developed.
Okay.
Okay, we're good. Thank you.
Okay, and on the form that parents will be filling out, it does say that the program is virtual. However, on the bottom, it does say that there's a membership fee of $25 and that there's a financing available. So I think that can be kind of confusing to parents. So can you all explain what you mean by that?
Yes, the fee is waived for our students that are involved with this program. They will not have to pay a fee. And it does say virtual because, you know, we didn't know when we're coming back, but we've already started in-person after school program. So this would be it would be in person. And there will be no fee.
Wow, that's wonderful. That's
So,
good.
so Ms. Alvarado, there's no fee, and it's just a simple question. There's no $25 fee that the Girl Scout will pay, but is that a fee that the district pays to the Girl Scout Association or not at all?
No, I have Mrs. Casas, Ramirez Casas here, and she's telling me no. They
Okay,
do not,
great.
no, we do not pay anything.
So then will
Thank you.
that be removed from there? Because it
I,
does say.
I think
closed
it's only what
Yeah,
it's saying there, Ms. Lopez, is that it's just stating that it has that $25 value. That's it. It's not, it's just, that's all it's
It's
stating.
not a charge.
It's not a charge. It's just saying that had there been a charge, the value would have been $25, but it's not a charge. I think it's just saying that you're getting a good value, basically, and it's a
Mrs.
$25
Ramirez
value.
Casas is here with me, and she's saying that that's just the standard form. And they
Right.
do, that they use, I guess, with that program, but they do not charge us anything.
Right. I think it's only stating that, it's just stating that it's a $25 value.
Okay.
Just like if you were buying something and it's valued at something else, it just states the value.
Mhm.
Yeah. I
Okay.
don't think it
And when I
means
spoke
anything.
to parents about it, about the program, the only concern I did hear from parents is that they're concerned about having to sell cookies and then having to pay out of pocket, that in the past that they've had to
Cookies.
pay out of pocket. So I just
Yeah.
wanted to get clarification on that too.
The cookie sale has not been part of our program at all, ever. And then we're not authorized to sell those cookies. So they would only be that leadership curriculum program that they would be involved with.
Thank you for clarifying that, Mrs. Alvarado.
And I have my
Thanks so
mask
much.
on because I do have my director of after school program. She's further than 6 feet away, but she's in my office.
Good.
Wonderful. Thank you so much. Thank you for being there.
Any more comments? Questions? Okay, would this be an agenda item? Okay, agenda number 4, review and discussion of agreement between the San Benito CISD and the Prometric and Facility Test Center for the 2020-2021 school year.
Yes, thank you, Mrs.
Ms.
Silva.
Alvarado?
Yes, thank you, Ms. Silva. And this is our MOU for our nurse aid exam. This was previously, the reason we're bringing it, because it did change. It was Pearson and it's been Pearson, but the state has changed it now. And this new company is called Prometric. So this is they give us a checklist of everything we have. And this testing center is located at VMA. And we have a checklist of everything that has to be in place, and we certify that exam here on site, so our students don't have to go anywhere else. And this gives us the opportunity to have the exam here. We provide the exam, and our kids don't have to travel anywhere to take that exam.
Good job. I like that. Thank you.
This
Good
is
job.
previously Pearson. Now it's Prometric.
Correct.
Good things are happening in the district, and I love that. Thank you.
Any comments, questions?
And
Agenda
it's
item?
a very detailed MOU also. That's why I personally don't have any questions, because it is very detailed. It explained everything there.
Yes, ma'am.
Great. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Alvarado.
Any committee concerns? Okey dokey, we adjourn at 7 o'clock. Thank you.